Hi, everyone. Welcome back inside the State Champs Sports Network studio for another update in our Total Softball Player of the Year race. Joining me, as he always does each and every week for this weekly soap opera that it's becoming, is Donny Dreher. And Donny, how much fun are you having, especially now that things are constantly changing?
I'm enjoying it because we're just seeing numbers explode out, and so we're getting constant emails, we're getting updates from the coaches, we're getting updates from advocates. Brian and I are just having a blast watching this, and they're just putting up amazing numbers.
As has been the case for the last couple of weeks, we are making more changes. There are going to be 3 changes to the top 10 this week. So, it's pretty insane. We're going to take it one at a time. And just remember, as we say this is not, we're not, tearing down somebody who is coming off. In a lot of cases, it's just somebody's playing so well, they have to come on. So, and in this case, there is at least one player who was off and is now back.
Actually, 2.
There's 2. So as you can see, you can play your way back into the race. So let's start. For the time being, Richland Gull-Lake Jr., Mandy Essman is coming off the list. Who's going in?
Yeah, well, I just want to say Mandy, like a lot of these kids, is just having a fabulous year. But we got to get Ellie Sieler back on her. Ellie's now hitting .699, which she's just tearing up. And I don't care what competition you're playing against. I couldn't hit .699 off a batting tee, right? She's also got a 67-game hitting streak, which I believe is second by a long stretch in Michigan. I think it was Hansen that had 91 or something. But Ellie's having a fabulous year, stealing a ton of bases, scoring a ton of runs. You're hitting almost 700. She deserves to be on the list.
Well, there you go. Our second, this is a senior, Hartland senior, Delaney Robinson, coming out of the top 10, replaced by who?
Well, we're gonna take her teammate, Rachel Everett, as the Hartland trio keep rotating around with Zampa, Robinson, and Everett. But Rachel Everett is pitching great. Her ERA is less than .3. But more importantly, she's doing it against the best teams.
Right.
So she's not pitching every game. They got a great number 2 in Swerkos, but she's throwing the big games, and against the big games, against the really good lineups, she's got an ERA of under .3. She's just had a fabulous year so far. So she's going back on, replacing Delaney, which again, Delaney's hitting, almost 500. With 6 bombs, so she's having a great year too.
Lillian Valemont, the talented Trenton Jr., also coming out of the top 10.
Yeah, in my opinion, the best player in the state of Michigan. If I was picking a team, I would start with Lily Valemont. And she's just a fantastic talent. She's hitting .550. She's got 10 home runs. Yeah, she does have a ton of walks. Like a lot of kids in our top 10 and on our watch list, they're getting pitched around. That's just part of it. But right. Lily's having a great year. But Callie Heivilin, she was off the list, and then she just monstered her way back on the list.
She took it personally, I believe.
I think so. So she's only hitting .636. She's scored 65 runs so far. That's better than 2.5 runs a game. And she's got 20 home runs now. The record is 26. So now all of a sudden, even in what I believe is a shortened season, it may fall. It may fall.
Like it is happening almost every year. I mean, I don't even know what the ceiling will be, like 40, 1 year. I mean, who knows? But yes, just killing it, right?
Yeah, so she had to come back on the list with those numbers.
Yeah. So congratulations to those who are back in the top 10. You can resume voting for those who are back in the top 10 by going to our website, statechampsnetwork.com. We do not want to dissuade you from voting when you see that Maggie Murphy has nearly 29,000 votes at the time of recording this segment. Clearly, she is far out ahead. However, in races as close as these, and if it's coming down to, a lot of the criteria is playing out similarly, we'll say, well, what has the support been for that athlete? And if you look and you see that they've got a generous helping of votes and people are out there really wanting to support their player, then, we say, okay, if everything's equal, we're going to leave her.
That's exactly right. It could come into play. Not necessarily, but it could come into play. And that's why get every vote you can.
All right, so let me just reiterate what the timeline is going to be here for the next several weeks as we get closer to choosing who will be the Total Softball Player of the Year for the year 2021. First off, we are going to freeze the top 10 on Wednesday, June 9th. That is where we will freeze the top 10. It will be the few days following following the districts,
Yep.
which is very important. And then the following Monday, June 14th, the voting will end. So that is where all the votes will be cast. And on Wednesday, June 16th, the Final Four will be chosen. That will be the day after state quarterfinals, which is a great indicator of who really should be in the Final Four. During the week of June 21st, that is when we will choose our champion, and we will figure out who that will be, but not until we most likely get through the state finals, as we most likely will have Final Four candidates competing for state titles. So before we go, real quickly, we have a softball podcast that airs on the network each and every week. It's called State Champs Swing Away, and it is hosted by Jenna Rose and Donny, along with college-bound jocks Brian Chittister participates, although he won't be in this week's show. But we do have a DMC, physical therapist, that's going to be talking about softball injuries that you'll want to check out. But what is it that your main point will be on this?
As always, we're going to talk about shout-outs, because there's other kids than just these top 10 that are having great performances. So we want to update people on some great performances and give some shout-outs. And, you know, it's the time now with the College World Series. And we're going to talk a little bit about the importance for our softball players and what they should be doing, whether it's watching the College World Series. I mean, it's a great time to see the best players that in our game. But we're going to talk about how that can impact them. And Lorne, I really feel like kids of today do not understand the history of softball, and they really should. Having heroes, having kids to follow. You know, Tiger Woods had Jack Nicklaus.
Right.
And these kids need to have heroes that they can follow. And I think they need to study the game, and they can start by watching the College World Series and seeing our best players play.
Usually
really exciting,
that rallies the crowd.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, yes, it's exactly. All right, that is our update for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to vote and vote often at statechampsnetwork.com. For Donny, I'm Lorne. We'll talk to you next week.